Good morning, students. Today we will discuss chapter 3 of economics, money and credit, grade 10th. Page 42 we have to discuss now loan activities of the banks. Now students, we know we have seen the modern forms of currency. We have seen the coins, the notes, the paper currency which is issued by the RBI, and RBI is having a legal authority to issue the money in our case. And in India the RBI issues currency notes on behalf of the central government. So this we have seen. Then we have seen that the law legalizes the use of rupee as a medium of payment that cannot be refused in settling transactions in India. So this we have seen that in our case RBI is the governing authority, is the governing agency which issues currency in our country. Now then we have seen the demand deposits. Okay, then the another form we have earlier we have seen the demand deposit, that if the surplus cash is there with the people, so they deposit it with the bank. Now the question arises, what do the bank do with the deposits which they accept from the public? So there is an interesting mechanism at work here. Banks keep only a small proportion of their deposits as cash with themselves, which is known as cash reserve ratio. So whatever deposits the people are depositing in the bank, so bank in return keep a certain proportion of deposits as cash with themselves. For example, banks in India these days hold about 15% of their deposits as cash. This is kept as provision to pay depositors who might come to withdraw money from the bank on any given day. So, depositors, those who had deposited money with the bank, any day they can come to withdraw their money. So, this 15% cash is kept in order to meet those requirements of the depositors who can come any day to withdraw their money. So means the bank works on this probability only, that since on any particular day only some of its many depositors will come to withdraw the money, and bank will be able to manage with this 15% cash. Means the banks work on this probability only, that all of the depositors will not come on any single day. Some of them might come and they can withdraw their money whatever is available with the bank as 15% of cash reserve ratio. So banks use the major portion of deposits to extend loans. So 15% they have kept their deposits as cash, and rest they will lend out to the people. So there is a huge demand for loans, for economic activities. In order to pursue, in order to start any of the economic activity, loan is required, credit is required. So now the banks make use of these deposits to meet the loan requirements of the people. So out of this deposits, now bank will give loans to the people, to the borrowers. In this way, now bank act as a link between those who have surplus cash, that is the depositors, and those who need the cash, that is the borrower. So here bank act as a mediator between the depositor and borrower. So banks charge a very high rate of interest on the loans, that whatever the loans they are giving to the people, the bank charges more rate of interest than on the they give on the deposits. So they give very less rate of interest on the deposits to the people, but they charge high rate of interest from the people who take loan from them. And the difference between what is charged from the borrower and what is paid to the depositor is the main source of income. So with this income, so this is the source of earning of the bank. With this income they will give salaries to their employees. They can start any new branch with this. They can set up the infrastructure, and they can meet their daily expenses from this amount. So this is the main source of income of the bank. That is the difference, what they have charged and what they have paid. So this is about the loan activities on page 42. So same chapter now, money and credit, page 43 we have to discuss, students. Now here on page 43 of your NCERT book, two different credit situations are given. One is of the festival season, that is Salim, the shoe manufacturer, we have to see his case, and second is Swapna's problem, the small farmer. So these two cases now we have to see. So these two case studies are given in your NCERT book. So, students, a large number of transactions in our day to day activities involve credit in some form or other. So whatever transactions are made, selling and purchasing is done in our day-to-day life, so it involves some sort of loan in some form or the other. So credit here refers to an agreement in which the lender supplies the borrower with money. It can be money, it can be goods or services. So here the lender supplies borrower with money, goods or services in return for promise of future payment. So the borrower will make a promise that whatever he has took, he will return that in the future. Now let us see how credit works through the following two examples. So this is the definition of credit. So credit in a simple term means loan. So here credit refers to an agreement. So agreement is made in which lender supplies the borrower with money, goods or services in return for the promise of future payment. So now let's see the two examples of the credit. So first is the festival season. So in this they have given the example of a shoe manufacturer Slim. So he as the festival season is approaching, he received an order from a large trader of 3000 pairs of shoes to be delivered in a month time. So the time of delivery within the month, and what he has to deliver 3000 pairs of shoes. Now to complete the production on time, Salim has to hire a few more workers for stitching, pasting, whatever work is there of manufacturing. Now to complete that on quickly on the timely basis quickly, he has to hire some few laborers, a few workers for stitching purposes, for pasting. Now he has to purchase raw material also, because he now to meet these expenses, so Slim has to obtain loan also, because otherwise how he will start the production. So raw material is also required, he will hire some labor also. So first he asks the leather supplier to supply leather now and promises to pay him later. So he is not having any money, but he required working capital, he required raw material, he required the capital, the cash in the hand. So he went to the leather supplier and asked him to supply the leather on the promise that he will pay later on. Second source from whom he obtained the credit is from the large trader who has placed the order. So he took advance payment of 1000 pairs of shoes. So he promised him that I will timely deliver the shoes within the month time. So give me payment for the 1000 shoes, and once I will deliver, so you will give me the payment of the rest 2000 shoes. And at the end of the month everything goes well. Slim is able to deliver the order on time, make a good profit, and he repaid the money whatever he has borrowed. So from whatever he has borrowed from the sources, he is able to return the money because he got the timely payment. Order was complete on time, he was able to deliver it on time, he got all his payments cleared on time. So it was all well for Salim. So in this case, Salim obtained a credit to meet the working capital needs of production. So working capital, student, means the raw material is also required, and then cash in hand is also required. So the credit helps him to meet the ongoing expenses of production. Okay, whatever ongoing expenses are there daily, the expenses are required for doing the production and complete production on time, so expenses are required. So thereby this increases his earnings. So credit helps him to meet the ongoing expenses of the production, complete his production on time, and thereby increase his earnings. So this is possible only through credit, otherwise it would not have been possible for Slim to undergo the production process. So credit therefore plays a very vital and positive role in this situation in the case of Salim. So this we have seen. Now the second case on the same page we have to see is of the Swapna. So now Swapna, a small farmer, so she grows a groundnut on her 3 acres of land, so very small piece of land, and on that land she is growing groundnuts. Now again she obtains a loan from the money lender in order to meet the expenses of the cultivation. So for cultivation she also requires seeds, she requires fertilizer, pesticides. So in order to pursue cultivation, so she went to money lender and she obtained the loan, hoping that everything will go well and she would repay the money back. Now midway through the season, the crop is hit by the pest and crop fails. So this is, you can say, destiny, bad luck for the small farmer Swapna. What happens now? The crop fails due to the pest attack. So though Sapna sprays her crop with expensive pesticides, but you can't guarantee anything, so still her crop was spoiled. But she is unable to repay the money lender, and the debt grows over the years into a large amount. So you can understand now she is not having any money to return to the money lender. Loan is increasing on her head. Now next year what happens? Swapna again takes a fresh loan for cultivation. She is not having any savings. She is not having any crop which she can sell and obtain the money. But again now she has to go for the cultivation. So she obtains a fresh loan for cultivation. So it is a normal crop this year. Okay, fine, not a bumper crop, only a normal crop. So, but still her earnings are not enough to cover the old loan. Okay, this much she is not earning that much that she will return to the money lender and she will also save for herself. No, whatever she is earning, it is very less and it will be very difficult for her to return money to the money lender. So in this way, debt is increasing year by year. The debt is increasing and she is caught in a debt. Now she has to sell a part of her land to pay off the debt. So whatever debt she has taken, now she has to waive it off. She has to return the money to the money lender by selling her land. So she has to return the loan by selling her land. Now moving to page 44, students, here earlier we were discussing the case of Swapna and we have seen she was in very bad condition and the loan is increasing on her head. We have seen this thing, and in order to now repay the money lender, she has to sell her land, and this is not a good situation for a farmer who is having small farmer who is having very small piece of land. Again she has to sell it off. So in rural areas, students, the main demand for credit is for crop production. So mainly farming is the main economic activity. So there the farmers, small and marginal farmers, they don't have any savings, so they require credit for the crop production only. And crop production involves the cost on the seeds, so they require seeds. On what they will spend? They will purchase seeds, they will purchase fertilizers, pesticides, they have to arrange for water also, electricity, certain equipments are there, so that they repair also. So many expenses are there if you are going for the cultivation also. So there is a minimum stretch of 3 to 4 months between the time when farmers buy these inputs and when they sell the crop. So at the time of sowing, all these inputs are required. Okay, and within 3 4 months the crop is ready, when the harvesting will be done and when they will sell their crop in the market. So hardly 3 4 months time is there in between. So farmer usually take crop loans at the beginning of the season, that is the sowing season, and repay at the when harvesting is done. So this is the duration, that now please give me the money, I am need of the money because I have to go for the sowing, and once the harvest will be there, I will repay your loan. Repayment of the loan is crucially dependent on the income from the farming. So simple, if the harvest will be good, if the income will be there, then only loan will be repaid, otherwise it will be very difficult for the farmer to repay the loan. And in Swapna's case, we have seen the failure of the crop made it very difficult for her to go for the repayment of the loan. It made it nearly impossible. She has to sell a part of her land to repay the loan. So credit, instead of helping Swapna, instead of improving her earnings, left her worse off. So you have seen. So credit in the case of Salim, it was very good. The situation was very good. Okay, but in case of Swapna, credit made her more worse. So this is an example of what is commonly called a debt trap. So the person is trapped in a debt. It is very difficult for the farmers to come out of this situation. The loan on their heads keep on increasing. Their earnings are not that much that they can repay the amount back, and it's because they have to survive also. For livelihood also, they require expenses, daily expenses are there, and their earnings are not that much that they can return the loan, and interest is also there. And these informal sources of credit, they charge high rate of interest, so it is very difficult to return the principal amount as well as the interest amount also. So credit in this case pushes the borrower into a situation from which recovery is very painful. So that is why the this suicide rate is high. That's why our farmers commit suicide, because they are not able to come out of this trap. Every year the same situation, uncertainties of the weather, uncertainties of the market the farmer has to face. So in one situation credit helps to increase the earning. We have seen in the case of Salim, and the person is better off than the before. And in another situation, because of the crop failure, credit pushes the farmer into a debt trap. And to repay her loan, the farmer Swapna, she has to sell a portion of her land. So she is clearly much worse off than before. So whether credit would be useful or not depends upon the risk in the situation, whatever the amount of risk involved, and whether there is some support in case of loss or no. So all these factors, it plays a huge role.